Right. What would you guys like to do?
Burn the
Go
poop.
home.
Was that burn the poop, did you say?
Yeah, burn the poop.
Okay. You can certainly set it ablaze on your way back, and with a mighty roar it goes up like a bonfire, at which point it lights up the entire cavern, and you can see at this point in the north and western sides you can see sort of two more, let's say, little streams that are heading out, presumably. The way you came seemed to be the main one of a source of water. But even in the short time you've been searching through the muck, the air seems to have cleared a little bit in here, and you can see the water seems to be flowing a little bit more evenly now. Still a slight stench and still a little bit of a peculiarity to it.
Excuse me, guys. Would you like to test like a little bit more? Maybe find something interesting and maybe more valuable than all of this?
Where?
Where, in your infinite wisdom, would you take us?
In my infinite wisdom, I would take it to luck, and from there on.
So you just want to go get lost in a cave? Yeah, it sounds like a great idea.
I mean, you know how the younger girls say, yeah?
I have no idea what you just said.
Me neither.
You know how the young girls say you only live once. Let's go.
Brother.
Oh, fine, let's
yeah, but
go
you only
home.
live once, so let's make sure we can stay alive.
Oh, fine. Ronald. And I like blow a kiss out in the air. Sorry, but we will have to meet another day. And I pack my things up and just like sadly, hunchbackedly, just walk.
Pouts away.
Pouts away, yeah.
While Rogel rides on your shoulders, petting your head.
Okay.
It soothes my inner depression.
There you go. Yush,
Okay.
yush, 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 yush.
So you go back the way you came, presumably?
Yeah.
Okay. So you take a stroll back, a little bit more loaded now, with backpacks full of armour and
Booty.
a few extra kilos to carry, but enough that you can still carefully make your way through. Who's taking point on the journey back?
That would be Oleg.
Yeah, I'll pass him my torch.
Okay. As you're heading up the stream from the current dwelling you are within, up ahead of you, you can see in front a figure, Oleg. Two figures, in fact, as you move a little bit closer. Both standing, looking straight toward you, and given your decent vision before they notice you, you see in front of you a dwarf, sporting red hair, and a rather large companion that you instantly recognise from up top. You seem to have caught them before they've caught you, though.
Oleg's going to call out to them. Yoo-hoo! Hello!
A nose for trouble, please.
Yep, given that you have the same vision as well, you can do a nose for trouble.
Oh.
Thank you.
And Oleg, if you want to roll intuition as well, for your sixth sense, you can also do so.
I rolled well.
Okay.
Rogel, the moment you hear Oleg say that, you look at the two figures in front of you, and both of them start strolling towards. The dwarf does have axes in hand, but the ogre is currently walking at a fairly relaxed pace with a large club, with a large spike pointing out of it as well, resting over his shoulder. Neither of them are walking in a particularly hurried nor aggressive pace toward you.
Alright, so they don't seem like a problem.
There's
Got it.
nothing thus far about their body language that seems aggressive. Hello there. Heard all the commotion down here. What you been fighting?
Yeah, trolls, mostly. Some rats.
You killed a troll.
3.
His eyes widen a little bit, and he's going to make a scrutiny test.
Make an impression check. to
Or
see
just
how
scrutiny
bad I-
at 3 corpses that are in the water.
Ah, 3, you say. Everyone all in one piece.
Just about.
Yeah, our legs are a little bit wonky.
Good. Well, you made enough noise. We could hear you from the neighbouring chambers.
Well, that's not good. That means that others could hear us.
Aye.
More rats, eh?
I would hope not.
Aye, you fought some ratmen too. Good on you.
But, excuse me, you two, but we found the source of the contamination for the water, and we need to get it out of here.
Really?
Could you direct us, like, the fastest way out? That way so we can get this handled. It's not safe.
Make a charm test.
No, I can't do that.
I'll give you.
Come on,
No,
just
I
put-
can't.
I'll
You
give
know,
you
just
plus
put it-
40, Rogel.
Put on your pro gamer face.
I believe
There you go. There you go.
it would have been 0 if you hadn't had the plus 40.
Put it, touch it, and feel the evil energies flow into your body. I mean, sure, go for it. I'll convince you that way. The
Aye.
evil, the magic, the chaos gods.
As he's currently there conversing with Rogel, he nods to the ogre by his side. Why don't you have a go look at the trolls? Just make sure they're not coming back. The ogre grunts and moves forward, taking a torch from the dwarf and stepping into the chamber you just come from. Aye, we can take you back. We've been down here for about 2 days now. I think it's about time we go ourselves.
Yeah, I really do appreciate the assistance. This is really important to get out of here.
Also, I would like to check if they are lying.
Well, that's what our intuition checks were
Yeah,
for.
I know, but
But
I
You can
do-
still see if they're telling the truth. Yeah, you can do another sort of intuition
Just a word.
scrutiny check. Or yeah,
I'll
you
do
get the impression that they look a little bit tired, weary, and fed up. So he's covered in blood as well. Now you've had the chance to look at him. He's doesn't look like it's his own blood, but sort of arms from probably up to his elbow either side. Even the beard seems to have splatters of a thick red in amongst the sort of fiery ginger.
Is it that deep red blood that we saw earlier from the Ratmen?
Not quite.
Not quite.
Slightly different colour.
Okay.
Right, well, just be a few minutes while we wait for Brutus to come along.
in the meantime, I ask him like, "Excuse me." Sorry, I'll go first.
Oleg was about to ask if his. What have you been fighting down here?
Yeah, I was about to ask the same thing.
Greenskins mostly. We found a little nest of orcs. Chamber quite a few ways over, but I can never pass up on an opportunity to be fighting a greenskin.
I would like to fight greenskins.
I don't know how you'd feel about an orc personally.
Did
Yeah, we
you
can fight
happen
goblin.
to?
He takes from his
Yeah,
back
yeah,
at this
great.
point, and you see he's got 3 skulls where they seem to have been bound together by the scalps using a few hooks, and puts down in front of him 3 skulls that are somewhere between the size of a human and the ogre. Pretty big.
I
Should
mean,
we have taken trophies from the trolls?
I mean,
Nah,
nah.
well, the question is, are they edible?
Yeah, they looked a bit dank.
Yeah,
As you
I wouldn't
ask that-
I wouldn't eat anything out of this water, guys. Not while it was still poisoned.
As you ask that question, from behind you can hear sloshing through the water back in your direction the large troll. He's currently got an arm... Sorry, not the troll, the ogre. He currently has a arm that seems to have been torn off of one of the trolls, and you can see his mouth has sort of blood around it. A chunk out of the arm of the troll, but you can see him making the expression of... chucks the arm down in front of you.
Yeah, I would have suggested not eating anything that was in that water.
Because
that's why
they
this ring
seem
needs to be taken
sickly.
out of here.
He grunts and nods in your direction. All right then, with us. And you
Did you
begin.
happen to come by a large creature with a tail, perhaps, on your ways here?
Large creature with a tail?
Yeah, a large creature with a
Loudly?
tail.
Oh, you're talking about the
Oh.
one that sneak past?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Ah.
That was before we did the 40-foot drop, so maybe they
Yes.
came from a different direction.
Yeah.
It's
Maybe
probably a
there are,
ratogri
like-
you're talking about. We've seen them before down here. Brutus doesn't mind a little bit of a tuffle with them, do you? Draws a big grin.
Ratagri sounds like food.
Right.
Well, we can tell you where it is if you want to go back for it
We can all go back for it and just destroy it.
on
Or
the way
not.
out.
Oh,
Get
come
to see
on.
some Dowie action.
Yeah, I want to see how the guy fights.
Right.
Would you like to fight Mr. Dwarf? It would be really nice to see your combat prowess with the ogre.
I'll give you a choice. If we go your way, I can't guarantee anything in particular, but if you want to go there, we could probably kill one more thing. But equally, I can take you my way and we can get out of here in a couple of hours.
I'd rather get out of
I say
here.
we
This
go.
is more important.
Let's get out.
Priority. Sorry, I have to be Daddy Rogel.
We'll be coming back tomorrow, though. If you really
we can
did
always
kill
come back
3
down.
ogres, then well, maybe you're not too bad after all. Maybe we can join forces for something a little more fun in future.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good. Right, and with that, he begins a stroll back the way you came, but instead of climbing back up at the point where the ropes are currently still dangling, he leads you around a network of tunnels. Seemingly he seems to be comfortable with his way through. Anyone that would like to, you can make a perception test of what you can hear, what you can see. The dwarf currently takes point with a torch in one hand and his ogre by his side. Oh, okay.
Critical.
Oleg, you do hear some noises from the sides from around you. You can't quite pin where and what's happening, but a few rocks move. Shauna, you get the impression for a little while that you might be being followed by something, but seeing you look around in a somewhat nervous disposition, nah, don't worry. We've killed enough of them for today. They're not going to approach with Brutus around, are they?
Still, I would like to be careful.
A wise
And
choice.
just ready my sword just in case.
Okay. And with that, the ogre's going to turn around and just let out a hearty belly full of sort of roar. Make an intimidation test.
Okay.
There we go. And with that,
Ooh.
the sound in the background goes to a complete standstill. You listen in again. There's a little bit of scampering for a few moments, and then complete silence. The big ogre just laughs and then continues to move.
Which one of us makes an endurance check to withstand his breath?
Right.
I'll prepare my bow just in case.
Okay. Walking along, bow drawn.
Oh fuck, I forgot I don't have any ammo.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't have any arrows for it, which might be a
Yeah.
problem.
I just cosplayed a little bit there with the bow and just, nah, fuck it. Back
Use
to the hammer.
candles.
Okay. So the journey goes the first hour quite quietly. As you're moving along, you're hearing the tales of the various creatures that have been slain down here. At this point, you get the impression that the dwarf and the ogre make no effort whatsoever to, let's say, conceal their presence. More than happy to take any fight that comes along. But any moments that there are any noises coming from, a hearty roar coming from the ogre is enough to send it scampering for now. Hey, we've killed all the big uns for now. They've lost their bottle, it seems. Not wanting to do any more fighting for today. Are you? Echoes down through the corridors ahead of stone.
Master Dwarf, you seem to be really great at making ratatouille.
My god.
The second hour, you come to a very steep climb. It's like at almost 35 degrees, but it just goes on and on. You have to try and make sure your feet are getting a good sort of dig in as you make your way up through this. It's like climbing an endless flight of stairs. I wouldn't normally take people this way, but this is our little hole, isn't it, Brutus? And he's currently got an arm each side of this narrower tunnel, trying to sort of climb his way back up. He's currently using the sides almost to pull him up. It seems to go on for about 45 minutes. Let's everyone have a endurance test.
Endurance.
Where is that at? Is that it's a thing here?
It's a skill, yeah.
Oh my god.
Where is it?
A tiny bit.
Oh, I found it.
Any bonuses?
God, wow, we failed
No
it
bonuses.
You failed it within 1, I failed it within 2. What the heck?
Oh my
Okay.
god.
Shauna the first to...
Wait. Before that, can I try and convince the ogre to get me up?
You can make a charm test
Considering
for a piggyback.
Yeah, I tried to climb up.
This
and
is after
failed
you've
miserably.
collapsed from fatigue, by the way.
Fair enough.
Shauna's leg's the first to go, with a sprained ankle bearing in mind. Smiles sweetly toward the ogre and asks for a lift. And although you're going to have to hold on with your arms and hands around the creature's neck, not the most comfortable ride, and your head does get a little bit close to the ceiling quite a few times, but you get a lift.
Donk.
The rest, you pause for a few seconds every now and again, just catching your breath, and you do fall some meters behind, but not enough to separate you from line of sight even, so you're able to keep up. After the second hour, you become remarkably close to where you first started, recognising the scenery again of the first initial tunnels, and you're fairly quickly brought to the staircase which brought you down here. And you are now led back up.
Yeah. I like it.
So, up the flight of stairs you go with a couple of companions this time. A little bit tight for the ogre in front of you. You see, he sort of has to shimmy his way sideways to make his way up the spiral staircase that just keeps going on and on and on. But you guys make it up, and a hearty knock, a thick thud on the door with the hilt of the axe from the Slayer. And in front of you, the double-sided stone doors open up with two long-bearded, white-haired dwarfs. And greeting the Slayer. Ah, welcome back. Good to see yous again. He throws a few skulls down in front of him. A second chain of orc skulls, or goblin skulls, they seem like very big green skins, that's all you're familiar with, are thrown down in front of them. The two dwarfs exchange a few words, and a small satchel of coin is handed over. He seems to count it for a few moments and then walks off to the side by the campfire here to sit down, looking somewhat bloodied, and take a rest. At which point you are approached by one of the dwarfs. So, how did you get on?
It
It
must
was certainly fun.
You're alive? That certainly counts for something. I wasn't expecting it.
How dare you doubt this magnificent group? I say as I stumble on my broken foot.
Hey, you might want to go to the temple with that.
Thank you for that information.
So, aside from the fighting, we found the source of the water issue and fixed it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Although there are a couple of troll corpses now in the water source, you might want to get a few men down there to clean them up.
Make a charm test just to see how believable you're feeling right now.
Okay.
How believable you're feeling.
Yep.
I like that turn of phrase.
plus 5.
Well, once the water's cleared up, I'll make sure to come and personally thank you myself. Not that I drink the stuff anyway. Ale's a little bit safer on the stomach, if you know what I mean. But if you have done that, you've done us a great service.
I will hold out the cloth that I have the ring wrapped up in and slowly peel it back and be like, is this a cultural artifact for you guys? Because this was the cause.
Aye. Better take that to the runesmith. Some sort of foul...
Yeah, very foul. Very foul. I wrap it back up and put it back in my pack.
There was tale of a necromancer that used to stroll down in the depths. I don't know too much about it. This is because he rolled a 5, by the way. But it looks familiar to some of the tales I've heard. Take it down to the runesmith. Maybe he'll be able to tell you more.
Necromancer, you say?
Yes. It was a long time ago, but they were tales for a while.
Well, he looked like he got eaten by trolls.
He lets out a hearty laugh in response. Grabs his belly for a second. Well, that would certainly make my day anyway. Right, bags on the table. Asks you to basically empty your satchels. Desk out in front of him, large sort of oak carved table. Seems to have quite a few dents and scrapes in it, but...
So, start stacking everything. So there's the broken axe blade from the temple.
Yep.
There's a lightweight and durable hand axe that we found in a pit trap on the corpse.
Yep.
There is the ornate dwarven hand axe. There is the dwarf breastplate and the dwarf bracers.
The dwarven hand axe, the armor and the bracers, they recognize as you place them on the table. Right. That's familiar markings. They're part of Clan Drona's. Hey, you! And then flags down one of the dwarfs. Take this over, will you? Take it to the Drona's lads. They'll be glad to have that back. I tell you what, you probably want to go with as well. You find a family heirloom like this, they're going to be grateful.
I like grateful people as I rub my hand together.
Now, for the rest of the stuff, you also had one incomplete axe. It seems that the armor, the bracers, and the complete axe are all part of a set. So that's all been, at the moment, folded in cloth, put into a barrow, and is currently being prepared to be carried to Clan Drona's. For the rest of it, you are offered, and this is just for the rest, assuming that you'll be rewarded by Clan Drona's for their things, you are offered 5 gold.
Each? Or in general?
No, in total.
Can I haggle?
You can make a haggle if you like.
Okay.
Make it so that it's an even number.
Right.
I mean,
Because 5 triggers me.
Yeah, right.
Successful.
Plus 1.
You're able to get 5 gold and 10 silver.
Yeah.
Get that trigger. All right. So what is one? So 1 gold is what? 20 silver?
24.
Yes.
24.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's 20. 240. Yeah, it's 20 silver, and then 1 silver is 240 brass. So if it's 20 silver a piece, that's going to be what? We got 5 gold, so that's going to be 110. So we split 110 4 ways.
110 4 ways. Just a second.
And
I think it'd probably be easier to do it with silver.
Well, that's what we're doing, I think.
Yeah. So we all get 27 silver and 120 brass. Yeah, right. You guys are far better than doing my day job.
So payment's been made. 1 gold apiece, some silver to finish off, and some brass as well. But currently a wheelbarrow is being loaded to be carried over straight to Clan Drona's, where you have a suit of armour that, well, at least part of a suit of armour that's come from. So, what would you guys like to do?
Let's go with it. Go meet them. We haven't met them yet.
Yeah.
I'm curious as to who they are.
Okay. So you're taken for a stroll directly south from here, past the temple on your left-hand side, and straight down to the building not too far from the jewelsmiths, at which point we can probably... A very large dwarf there that's popped out of the building. Let's bring him down to a more reasonable size. There we go. So a knock is done on the door at this point, and a dwarven, somewhat more of a butler, seems to open up and welcome the greybeard in front of him. Hello? Look. Fine. Welcomes you all in after hearing that some heirlooms have been recovered. And stepping inside this building, you are greeted by slightly more of an ornate building. There's some paintings on the hanging on the walls. There's some carvings, busts on top of tables. The building is, let's say, somewhat more decorative than a few of the others. Fairly large, seems to be a fair few rooms inside. You're taken to one of perhaps the most ornate-looking rooms with a very, let's say, decorative stone door which is easily pushed open by 2 dwarves armed with axes as you enter. In front of you, by a desk, a pretty large-looking dwarf, by dwarven standards at least. Certainly nowhere near the height of a human, but welcomes you in. Hello? Who goes there? And what have you got for me today? It begins evaluating the items. One by one lays them out in front of him on the table, before he pauses and looks up at you. Tell me, how did you come by these?
They were by the water source. They were in a pile of troll dung.
Clenches his fist at the hearing of the word troll. What happened to the trolls?
They're all dead.
Gone.
Yeah,
They got
killed the
told.
3. Yeah.
Good. I've not seen this axe since I was about this tall. Puts his hand out by his side, but about half the height of himself currently.
Wow,
Rests
that must have been a really long time ago.
Probably about
How
200.
gray's his beard?
Pretty big, pretty grey,
Pretty big,
pretty long.
Pretty gray. All right, so we're talking like hundreds of years. All right,
He says
all right.
it's probably about 200 years.
Ooh.
It belonged to my father. Pointing at the axe at this point. This was his. I don't know where or how it ended up down there and amongst some trolls, but he was lost in the wars and the fighting down below.
The axe?
Yes.
Was that the axe that we found in the bottom of that spike pit?
No. This is
okay,
this is the blade that was found in amongst the dung, in amongst all the armour.
Oh, okay.
The other axe has been sold off.
Okay, I was wanting to know because I was thinking maybe it was the body was his at the bottom of the
Right.
spike trip.
Right.
We can tell where your dad is or something. Sorry.
He goes on to
Go
explain that his father was lost many years ago when basically during the sort of calamity that left this place as sort of a shadow of its former self. But his father's body, armour, axe, never recovered. But at this point you can see him getting, certainly not teary-eyed, but you can see him sort of stoically emotional, fighting to keep some sort of
Composure.
struggling to keep his composure. This is more than I could have asked for. he points to one of the other dwarfs inside the room currently, and then points to what looks like it might pass for a safe. What can I do to repay you? This is priceless, what you've given me today.
Well, a bit of gold will always be nice, but we also need some information
We do?
We do?
about the ring.
Oh no, I was gonna take that to the temple after this. This is separate, I
Mhm.
think.
Well, I have a little idea in mind to
Sure.
help speed up the whole mountain thing. Adventure. I asked him, Master Dwarf, how famous is Clan Drona's in, how well off are the Drona's family good with the Jarl Thorgrim Iron Axe?
We're not in the best of standings currently. He's a
Never
stubborn
mind then.
dowie. We hold a bit of sway here due to our standing, but let's say we have influence, but we're not on the best of terms. What would you like?
Do you think like, have him help Elise?
Yeah, thinking to help with Elise, or at
Court
least
case?
in the
Or
court case
provide
with
her assistance or something? Yeah.
basically that's what I'm
I can
thinking.
certainly do that for
Because
you.
that'll shorten our stay here and let us go off.
I can certainly try that. That's no problem. I've heard there's a lady, let's say, pestering her. It's been
Yeah.
humorous to us, Dowie, but I'll see what I can do to help the lady for you. Is there anything else I can offer you? Food, shelter, coin?
Well, apart from coin, we would like some information about the mine and why it is so important. What has happened? Can you tell us a little bit of history about the Dronas family? Like we could talk over the night.
Sure.
Yeah.
He offers you a place to stay for the evening. In fact, he offers you a place to stay while you are here, free of charge.
Sweet.
Nice.
Food
I like that.
supplied for you, and he starts to set up a small feast just to extend his gratitude, and begins to share a little bit of the background of the calamity and wars that basically made them lose control of their lower levels many years ago. In a brief description, they continued digging as a mining colony and a mining outpost. They continued digging and digging until they first uncovered the catacombs, and they would then go down there and dig even deeper. It wasn't long before they overlapped with the underpass, seemingly, of the Skaven, or the Rat Men, or the Ratogris and the Ratkin, as he refers to them as. And that started a small-scale tuffle, let's say. The dwarfs were able to hold them at bay for a while, but meanwhile they were still digging. The greenskins, undead, multiple different types of enemies ended up all warring together over this area, and it very quickly cascaded into a sequence of fights that the dwarfs could no longer contain. And basically at that point they lost control. Many of their sort of largest fighting force was lost. A large portion of their population has basically been lost just to trying to fight to reclaim it, but eventually it was just sealed off. Not as defeat, but as a sort of a promise that one day it would be reclaimed.
As a grudge.
Exactly. But for the next couple of hours, you are treated to some food. You are treated to any ale you would like. Anything you would ask for, as essentially.
What does Clan Drona specialize in? Because usually the clans specialize in something very specific in like their operations.
We do indeed. We export the mined goods down the river. Borghafen, Altdorf. That's our territory. By now, I'm gathering that he will have gathered where you're from and has a few of the pleasantries from you, but we work primarily with the Steinhargers. I'm sure you're familiar.
Oh, okay.
At least we have a trading arrangement with them. They buy the metals, the lead, the silver that we produce, package it on and send it on to the Empire, and we get our coin from them.
What about the Rook brothers? Do you have any information on them?
Not so much our territory, I'm afraid. We deal in stone and mining, and the Rook brothers, one of the other families. Steinhergers you certainly wouldn't want to mess with. They're a crafty bunch, but they pay very well.
Hmm.
So, since you guys do a lot of exporting and trade, you guys have boats then, right?
We have a few rafts we send down the river from time to time, but yes, we do. Down to Moorland Fort between there and Bokafen. We do indeed. Having explained to you a little bit of the history of the mines, how the catacombs were discovered and then lost, is there anything you'd like to ask him, other than the favour to try and help Elise?
If he could, when we're ready, have a transport prepared for us to go to Altdorf.
Aye. I send the occasional caravan down there. Won't be too much of a problem.
Okay.
Be able to get you safe transport. Where are you headed? Bokafen, Altdorf? It's all the same route.
Exactly. But I think for now we would be going back to Bokafen with Elise when we're done.
Shouldn't be a problem. We also operate the caravans between here and Moorland Fort, so we go there. That's not a problem. We do a little bit of trade with Bretonnia, but not so much. So occasionally we send route to Helmgart as well, but that's about the length of our connections, let's say.
Those are still some weighty connections.
Those are some what, sorry?
Weighty connections, good connections, worth a lot of money connections.
Aye. You trying to hint at something, wee man?
Oh, no, nothing. You guys are doing well.
He has and does also give every one of you a further gold coin of your trouble.
Aw, yeah.
Admittedly, the hospitality, the food, you're basically welcome here whenever you want. So
Sweet.
that seems to be perhaps the creme of the deal, but all players gain another gold. Putting Shauna a hell of a lot. Someone needs to get pickpocketed ASAP. So, and I notice, Shauna, was it? Your leg's looking a little bit worse for wear. Turns to OLED as well. And you look like you could do a little bit of recovery yourself, sir.
Hi.
Have you?
Yeah, they're both kind of beat up. I think we're gonna be. We were thinking about taking them over to the temple.
I was about to say that. Tell them to put it on our tab, whatever you need.
Well,
thank you very much.
No problem, but you've got a couple of choices over there in terms of healers, so they'll be able to fix you up. If you want to, we'll prepare the beds for later for you so you can get some sleep.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay.
Graciously accept and thank him for his hospitality. And then let's get Scoodoodle over to the temple.
You're escorted to the door by a couple of dwarfs. There seems to be probably some 20 individuals in here in total. Presumably most of them don't sleep here. There's quite a lot of offices as well. It seems to be a combination of storing items, let's say more administrative things. There's several cabinets that seem to be filled full of scrolls and deeds, a few central desks, but there are still some sleeping quarters as well included. It's, let's say, a somewhat varied location. So, making a way back up to the temple for the first time, a large cylindrical building that is just shy of the height of the actual chamber itself. Several entrances from many different directions, and as you step inside, you see a multitude of people in there. 3 large statues are within this building. each of them at the centre facing outward, with numerous seats around. Toward the edges are various areas within the building that seem to be set up with what you would assume would be some form of, say, infirmary around one of the areas, perhaps even 2/3. The other third, the bottom right, seems to be slightly more military focused. There's a few individuals sparring in there at the moment, with one instructor shouting toward them.
What is he shouting?
Seems to be shouting basically instructions on training, so he seems to be getting one of the weaker of the two to raise their elbows, move their stance a bit better. It's a human, actually, that's doing the instructing, and seems to be one dwarf and one human that's sparring together.
Fair enough.
Sweet.
So, who do we speak with to get the ring taken care of?
I'll handle that. You two go find doctors and put them on the Dronaz tab.
Yeah.
Because I don't need a doctor. I'm peachy keen, I think.
Okay. So are you leaving them for a walk as such?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll leave them, and I'm gonna go and because it's gonna be someone in this temple, I think. See if there's anyone, because I'm not familiar with dwarves who would actually have knowledge on magic items.
If you ask around, you're pointed in the direction of the runesmith, which is back in the sort of more the steel run, which is around the merchant's quarter. So back up and sort of top left of the map, kind of opposite the miner's bounty, not too far from where you are, but you're given directions to the runesmith that would know far more about, let's say, magical items compared to those of the temple.
Okay, yeah, I'll go handle that while they're getting healed up.
Okay. So for Oleg, Shauna and Grimvald, as you're asking within, it's fairly apparent as to where the infirmary is. There's a couple of injured dwarfs, one who seems to be clearly a miner from his attire with what looks like a broken leg on a table currently being tended to by a mixture, dwarves and humans. You were approached at this point by a lady, blonde hair, currently down to sort of shoulder height. She has a very sort of sweet smile to her, and she introduces herself to you. Oh, hello there. I am Hilgard, or Hilly you can call me. Are you in need of assistance?
Yes. Me and this fine gentleman over there have damaged feet.
Yes, I can
and a
see.
torn muscle.
A dicky leg, I could notice you walk in. Come, sit yourself up on the seat and we'll have a look at you, see what we can do. Brings Oleg and yourself over to sort of sit yourself up, and she calls over a couple of assistants. I'm the matron of here. This is my dwelling. How did you come to such wounds?
We went down to the ruins and, well, stuff happened.
Yes, it was an epic battle with a rat that was at least 20 feet tall, and in my struggles, it hit my leg.
She doesn't seem too taken. The moment you say ruins, she kind of scowls a little bit, not directly at you, but at your leg as she's currently assessing your injury and pressing gently and poking a few areas. There are too many deaths down there, if you ask me.
Well, we did fix the water issue, so you should have clean water soon.
Yeah. Thalia be praised. That is, if you had done so, a great service. It's hard to heal here without water. Well, it appears I am in your debt. And she continues to press gently. Her touches, you get the impression she's a very, let's say, experienced healer. At this point, she's caused neither of you any pain, but has gently moved back your clothing, started to assess the injury, and investigate to see what she can do. Okay. She takes her time, she evaluates and calls over a couple of slightly more novice-looking individuals that are currently robed. See to it that these are adequately bandaged, will you? And give them a poultice to help them on their way. I'll give you some other ointments to apply daily. It should help with the pain.
Thank you. Much
Much appreciated.
Mama Hilda.
Should you need any medicinal supplies, I am able to also provide services, especially if you're insisting on going to such dangerous places.
Yeah, hopefully not again. This is just to pay the bills.
Okay, well, keep us in mind, because I don't want any more dead people around here. There's already enough pain and suffering from that wretched place. Seems to shoot a scouring look at one of the dwarfs over by the side as she says that.
Oh.
Meanwhile, Grimwald has gone to investigate the two that are sparring and has started watching and observing, trying to just see what's going on, seeing you safe in the hands of Hilly. At this point, he's approaching and approaches a human gentleman who's currently instructing the two on how to fight. Gaetano Riviera. He introduces himself to Grimwald. The two exchange words over where he is from, where the two of them hail from, and a few of the pleasantries. Mr. Riviera reveals himself as a priest of sorts. He originates from Tilia and worships and pays tribute to Myrmidia, the goddess of warfare and strategy. And basically during his time here, he has started to train those that approach, and for a small fee and a week's worth of effort, he is able to take on any student who wishes to learn a particular weapon craft. At this point, he discusses with Grimwald regarding the various offers, and, well, we'll just have to wait and see what Grimwald thinks. The cost is 2 gold crown, but he boasts the best training money can buy.
Would that also go on the tab? The Jonas tab?
No.
No.
No, alas, no.
Tillian, though, right? Tillian, you said?
Tillian, yes.
So he's about as greasy as Grimwald.
I'll explain the mechanics, but in a nutshell, if you study under him, if you can pass a +20 intelligence test, you get 100 experience to put on any weapon skill of your choice.
Nice.
Oh shoot!
If you fail
Only
the test,
one weapon skill.
if you fail the test and you do not pass, you cannot re-roll, and it is basically a week, but you didn't quite get it. More studying needed. Each person can only benefit once. He can only take on 2 students at a time.
Mm-hmm.
But any weapon he is the master of. Anything of a combat nature, he can train.
Here's a question for you.
Sure.
Would taking melee parry actually benefit me at all with shields?
Yes, because you use parry to melee. Or you can use parry to melee.
Right, but the shield trait itself is supposed to counteract that -20, right?
We'll cover that, but
I'm just wondering if there's a benefit to training.
yes, there is, because if you don't roll parry, you don't get the SL benefit from the shield.
Right.
So technically, when you want to get that juicy SL benefit from defending with your shield, you should be rolling parry. If you don't roll parry, if you roll weapon skill, you don't get the full benefits of the shield.
Right.
And there
I
are a
have been
few
rolling
weapons
parry
that...
with the shield.
Sorry?
I said I have been rolling parry with the shield.
Yep, that's correct.
So it's-
And there are weapons that also use parry.
okay. Can we get back to you on this?
Oh, absolutely. This is something you can discuss and fluff as it were. So the two of you are treated, healed. You're given a few ointments and things to see you on your way. At this point, Thorn, you've left, so never mind. Oleg, she does also realise that you look a little bit pale. She gives you something to take. Not exactly sure what, but she seems to have insisted that you should be taking this.
Orally, I hope.
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
It smells very, very herby, kind of like a herb garden all blended into one, but...
Oh, gross.
Oleg goes to go put it in his mouth, and she stops him and points to her butt.
Do I also look pink?
You wishing yours?
She hasn't noticed anything unusual about you.
Okay.
Oled seems to be looking like he was starting to come down with something, so she's given it to him to see what it can do. Right. With that, both of you feeling a little bit better and able to stand upright with this splint providing a little bit better support. You've basically been strapped up using some leather bindings and cloth, so you can move at normal pace, but there will still be, you can't make a sprint action, for example, and a couple of limitations, but you can now move with relatively normal mobility. Right. Over to Rogel, who's currently entered and finally found a runesmith. A large picture of an anvil and a few runes on the front of the swinging sign. Building looking pretty identical to many of the others in the area. You step inside. There's one old, very old looking dwarf inside, currently investigating a large stone slab with a hammer and chisel, chipping away at it as you enter. Come in, come in. Who goes there?
I'm looking for a runesmith. Is this the right place?
Looking around you.
Or rune priest or whatever it was? Yeah, rune priest.
Yeah, looking around you, there is anything in here is covered in runes. There is a mixture of doors which have been crafted and carved. There are signs that have been constructed, but more importantly, or perhaps catching your notice a little bit more, there's armor and weapons that have also been all seem to be engraved as far as you can tell. From I think a magic user's point of view, despite the fact that runes aren't kind of your usual cup of tea, you would definitely get a whiff up your nose and a little bit of a tingle that you're in the right place.
Disregard my question. I'm just going to assume that I'm in the right place. So I'm going to walk up to the counter and I'm going to remove from my pack the cloth with the ring in it and just open it onto the counter.
Okay.
Not spilling it out, but just opening it.
Opening it, okay. He's going to take a moment to look. Aye. Where did you find this?
This was the cause of the water supply being poisoned.
No bloody wonder. Do you know what it is?
I tried to discern it, but I immediately got hit with really foul magic. So I just recoiled and wrapped it up and brought it up here for someone else to look at.
Tell me, how much do you know of magic?
Only what I was taught, which wasn't a lot.
His ears prick up a little bit at that. He pulls out a magnifying glass and points it towards a couple of the markings on it. I'll allow you to make a further insight check at this point on the item.
What would you like me to roll?
Your usual identify item trickery that you would do.
Okay.
Basically,
intuition.
Yeah, basically he's going to walk you through it and see if he can... He knows what it is, but he's going to see if he can show you. Right. He explains to you each of the carvings, although he himself is not necessarily a magic user in the traditional sense. He's equally familiar, though, with the words and the language of magic which you use. It's something that he's at least has an understanding of, even though he uses his own dwarven methods, which are somewhat alien to you. Explains to you that this ring was crafted some years ago, some many years ago, 100, 200, 500, he's not exactly sure. But what he can tell of this, and what you can tell of this, is that this is a ring that, when met with contact against someone else, has a fairly probable chance of instilling that person with a disease, although the wearer itself most likely would be immune to any effect. It's some form of cursed artifact, so I can run you through the game rules for it, seeing as you've got a +4. You'd have a fairly decent understanding after this of how it works.
Okay.
In a nutshell, you can wear it if you were to shake hands with someone that were to touch it.
The ring.
They would most likely contract a random disease. There is, however, a chance and a risk that is associated with it.
Okay.
But that is what the ring was constructed to do. Basically spread pestilence and decay wherever it goes.
Also, remember to always high-five Grimwald while wearing it.
Right. That's the ultimate stink palm right there.
Specifically, though, a random disease. Like, this isn't a catch a cold.
Yeah. You can
So it could
either...
be something random that you catch immediately from them.
Well, here's my thinking. All right, so I'm gonna meta talk here real quick, and I just got like a tingly feeling over this one.
Okay.
Right? So what I want to do is I want to wear this ring, and whenever I'm doing sneaky, stealthy stuff, I can just walk up behind someone and poke them with it.
You can.
And just turn it into a disease-granting touch attack.
You can. You would, from what you can tell of this, like the person would contract the disease in a similar method that they've contracted something else, so they're not going to fall over a disease straight away. It would be like if you've just caught a, I don't know, rat fever. It would take 2 weeks for the symptoms to show.
Oh, okay.
So they basically don't fall down dead in front of you, but it acts as a vessel to sort of transmit something, an infection.
You should keep it in the same pocket as your gold. So when Shawnee tries to pickpocket you.
And with that, after the two of you have discussed exactly what this item does, he sort of walks you through and holds your hand and explains to you a few of the inscriptions that you perhaps weren't familiar with. Now, the question is, what are you going to do with that? It's to be destroyed, no? And gives you a little bit of an eyeball.
Well, absolutely. But where can we destroy it? Right here? Just with a hammer?
Aye. I could probably have a fair go at it if you like, but it's humans that did it, and it's humans that are responsible for it, so I say take it to Waldorf and let them deal with it.
Okay.
Take it to one of the colleges, I don't care who.
You know what? Interestingly enough that you say that, I was considering heading towards one of the colleges. So that could work for me. I could actually take it there. That's something I can do. All right, that's the plan then. I'll just take it to get destroyed.
I tell you what, in the meantime, he pulls out a small box from the side and gives it towards you. It's sort of 3 to 6 inches wide and the same long and very heavy. It's made of lead. It'll keep it a little bit safer than a bit of cloth you're keeping it in.
It's a very good call. All right, how much is the box?
10 silver. It's nicely crafted, at least.
Yeah, but okay. So you said it's made of lead.
Yes.
What does that mean? Should I roll like magic lore on it or something? Or
Yeah, you can roll lore of magic if you want, and it would be plus 30. This would be fairly common information for you. Yeah, you know that there's something about lead that has some protective qualities. So from taint as such. So keeping things within a lead box would be preferable if they're dangerous items, not wanting to sort of spread their contamination. That's kind of all you're familiar with.
Okay, how much? This is a lead box, so it's going to be heavy as heck. How much is the encumbrance on it?
It's only like 3 to 6 inches wide, so you can still chuck it in your bag, and by the time you do it won't take a full encumbrance. Yeah, it's like a small
like
jewelry
Like
box.
a ring box.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit bigger, but largely it's got some padding inside and some other bits just to centralize the ring, stop it knocking about. But it's of sturdy construction. It has a lock and a key with it as well. But, yep, for 10 silver, he hands it over to you, and you're now in the possession of a lead box for your ring, should you wish to not wear it.
I choose not to wear it. I choose to put it in that box.
Okay.
And all right, so that'll be it.
That'll be.
I'll head back towards the other guys at the
Okay.
at the temple after I thank him for his assistance.
As you approach back to Hilga, Shauna, and Oleg, before you can get a word with Shauna and Oleg, a blonde woman approaches you. Did you know you were ill? I'm sorry. Sorry for startling you. And she's knelt down by now to get herself to your height and is currently trying to look inside your irises each side. You know you have a fever starting to brew, yes?
I do.
She pulls over an assistant, points to your eyes. You see the discoloration on the sclera? Yes. She hands you something. Take this.
What is this?
Once a day. This will help with the coming week or two, if you're lucky.
Doctor lady,
waves at Rogel
I seem
and then
to have
points at his own
contracted
Rogel points at his own butt. No, I'm just kidding.
Dr. Lady, I seem to have contracted the hiccups.
She's given.
Yeah, right.
She goes back to you. You are fine. Do not worry.
Okay.
You have a bad ankle, but you'll be fine.
You know, Sienna, I heard that only the guilty get hiccups. So, what have you done lately?
All right, so
Your
I'm
mom.
gonna be like, hey guys, who is she?
What?
Who's that woman that just gave me stuff? Told me I
She's
was.
the Doctor Lady.
Oh, is she legit?
Yeah.
The
Okay.
medicine tastes horrible, but it works.
I would like to intuition her.
Sure, you can intuition her. Nose for trouble and all of that. Yeah, she seemed nice.
Zero.
She seemed nice and pleasant. Like, you didn't get anything, no malicious vibes from her. It smells very herby, what you've been given, and having a whiff of it, it's Oleg, you would realise you've been given the same stuff. Both of you have been given some sort of thing of a medicinal nature.
Alright, fine. I'll take it. I trust her. These guys vouch for her.
Your instructions are basically to take it once a day, and it will...
Once a day.
Once a
And
day.
how many do I have?
You've got enough to last a couple of weeks.
Oh, okay.
It's
this
kind of
in
like a
my-
pinch a day,
Alright.
right? And with that,
What was I doing for the effect of the torn leg muscle, by the way?
basically you can pretty much ignore it for now, but if you have to do something very athletic, it might still be relevant. Given that it's been properly, let's say, bandaged and sort of supported, you can get your full movement back. But it might come into play if you are, let's say, doing something a little bit more athletic, trying to jump off of a building or something. Okay. At this point, she's gone to tend to other patrons and disappears.
Where is my brooder?
Oleg's gonna wander off to look for Grimwald now.
You can spy him the opposite side of the room, still transfixed with two individuals that are sparring.
Shauna frustratingly hiccups. Oh, now I stop. God damn it. No, there it is.
Rogel's gonna is gonna waddle over to where Oleg and Grimvold are, and I'm gonna let them know that we can't do anything about the ring here. That we have to take it to someone who's capable of dismantling it properly.
And who deals in that, Gleben?
Cleveland. Anyway, well, the most logical source would be the colleges in Altdorf.
Okay, so that is your tuition then?
I would hope so. Maybe. I already got tuition granted from what was his name?
Mort.
Recommendation.
Mort. Yes, Mort.
Yep.
Yes, I already spoken to Mort about that. So, I guess we're going to Altdorf to handle this problem at some point. No rush though. I got a nice box for it to help seal it so it doesn't spread its disease.
It what?
That'd be nice.
Yeah, it's a lead box. It's kind of nice and nifty. Look. Oh, by the way, when I was in there, that guy had like armor that had runes on it that kind of smelled of magic. So like he might actually have magical armor for you guys if you want to go over there and take a peek.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Oh, hey Grim. By the way, I got a nice little lead box here from a rune priest to house the cursed plague ring, so that we can take it to Altdorf, since one of the colleges there could probably handle dismantling it correctly.
Bruder, I noticed that you've been watching these men train their weapons. What's going on?
Well, he's been hitting him with the pointy stick.
Here.
Wait, are you still recording or?
Yeah, still recording.
Damn it. I tried to segue you in.
I know, right?
I didn't realize you were back.
I heard the breathing and was like, no, wait, he's not here. Why is someone breathing like him?
Do you want a quick recap?
Yeah, a little quick recap and let's go.
Okay, so basically they had a quick chat with Dronas. Dronas have said they work with the Steinhagers. They're primarily exporters. They've offered you guys a free place to stay, free place to eat and drink while you're here. They've given you all a gold crown each, and basically anything you need while you're here, they're your man. Suggested that you guys go and heal yourselves at the temple. Shauna and Oled has both been bandaged for their legs, so they've been given a splint and some things to apply daily, which at least gives them their movement quality back, although the affliction is still present. And you have been watching in the side of the temple Mr. Riviera, who is a priest of Myrmidia. He has been training 2 individuals while you're there, and he has said that he is capable of training anyone in any weapon. So if you've got a week to spend an endeavor with him and a certain amount of coin, he has the capacity to basically fluff you up, let's say.
Mr. Riviera.
Yeah, so I'll go into the actual mechanics afterwards, but I've got a rule set for him.
Do you still plan on going on like hardcore, or is that it for the session? Like, do you plan to stop
We can just keep going until
Yeah, we've got more to do if you want. So
yeah, let's do, because like I got pissed off that I got cut off.
Yeah, no, there's more to do. So we can get at least another half an hour or something, and then Shauna will have to go, but that's fine. So Hilgard has also given some stuff to Rogel and Oled, who are looking like they're both going to coming down with a fever. She thinks Shauna's fine, and so she's given them both something to take, and because she rolled a 2 on her test and is amazing. And Rogel's been to a rune smith and found out that the ring is a ring of pestilence. Basically, anyone you touch, you can give a disease to. And it looks like it was crafted for a necromancer a few hundred years ago. But
Also,
the runesmith
Shauna
didn't
has-
want to destroy it because he felt it was a human problem and should be dealt with by humans.
Okay.
Also, Shauna has contracted the hiccups, so that's gonna be fun.
Yes.
So while so cute.
Okay.
So Grim and Oleg that the runesmith has armor that looks like it has runes etched into it, and it smells like magic. That they might be interested in something like that. I know they're kind of goo goo gaga over dwarf stuff.
Does it perhaps have some boats?
I don't know, maybe.
Enchanted boat.
Go ask. think it's definitely worth taking a hit up on maybe getting some new gear, since we just raked in some good money from that haul. I know Shauna's got a bunch of money to spend.
Yeah, just remember that 5 of these 7 golds go to find clothes.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Okie doke. Right, what do you guys like to do?
Well, we don't have to pay for food and lodging anymore.
Yeah, we should find Elise and check up on her.
So we can check up with Elise. We can talk to the Jewelsmith Guild and see if they've taken care of their business yet.
Also tell the wench about the water problem.
Ah, yes.
Okay.
Give her secrets about the ring as well.
Yeah.
So, what would you like to do first?
Elise.
Go catch up with Elise? Okay, so it's not too far for you guys to go. You move over toward the Grand Hall and see if Elise is there. They instruct you that she's actually at the Miner's Bounty right now, so another 100
2
meters.
birds, 1 stone.
Sorry?
2 birds with 1 stone, I guess.
Yep.
Yep. Right, so at this point you also realise it is getting pretty late in the day, so the temple is starting to close up, people are quietening down, the doors to the Scarf's Keep and the Great Hall are starting to sort of close up. Not every shop is sort of boarding up, but it's definitely late evening by now, and, well, you headed off fairly early in the morning, but it's late in the day and you would expect the shops would probably be shutting. The shops would be shutting in the coming hour, but making your way back to the Miner's Bounty to chase down Elise, you're able to find her resting within her room on her bed. A little knock on the door and, come in, who's there?
It is your best hirelings in the world.
Ah, well, nice to see you are still alive.
Yeah, we had quite the adventure.
Did you manage to solve anything, or?
Yeah, we solved the water problem.
Really? Well, you must be the talk of the town, then.
They seem not to care too much. They like their ale more.
Well, this is true, but still, I would appreciate a glass of water once, if the water is ready. This is, well, it is good to have a seat. She looks exhausted by now. She's kind of like draped across her bed.
We also discovered some ancestral armor of the Drona's clan, and they have agreed to assist you as part of returning it.
Her ears prick up a little bit as you say that. I'm going to need the assistance. That man is the most stubborn creature I've ever met in my life. I would like to strangle him very much, but I will not do so today. He seems to really dislike people. Humans, that is. And he is stubborn as an ox. He will not open the mine. To the point I am somewhat suspicious.
Well, I mean, Shauna can show you how to choke people.
Yeah.
Well, I will probably not get myself into too much trouble, but...
If you meet him dead by some sort of mysterious disease, let us know.
Perhaps...
No.
Perhaps you could close the door for now, before we finish this.
Channel Oogaloo and run away.
She asks you to close the door before continuing this conversation. That would certainly solve one of our problems, but I have...
In good news, the Drona's clan is also at odds with him, so they should love helping you.
Okay, well, that is good. I had an idea. Perhaps this is something you can run by them. Maybe it is not a good idea to run it by them. I'm not sure anymore. But the mine here is so stubbornly refusing to open. Honestly, I think there is something in there he wants to hide. I do not trust him. There's no reason any creature on this planet would be so stubborn. She's sort of gripping her hands together. She looks like she's had one hell of a stressful day. You've not seen her sort of this fatigued before. Look at this. This is
get some rest.
Perhaps asking a lot of you, but if an opportunity were to present itself, if you can find
perhaps why he does not want to open this mine from the inside. I do not think he is going to tell me, but this will put you in risk. I accept this, and I will give you give you double your salary, an extra gold crown, perhaps for doing this. But remember, this must not
Go spy on a dwarf? That sounds like a bad idea.
No. To go into the mine, the closed one.
Yeah, I would like doing that.
Oh,
Count me in.
that
No
sounds like
questions.
fun.
Can we do that at least tomorrow? We need to rest for today.
Yes.
Out of the town. This sounds amazing.
There's no rush. I'm going to spend another day arguing with that cretin of a creature. Maybe I will take the day off tomorrow. Maybe I will do something nice. I do not. Sit in a bath.
I could spend a day casing the mine entrance to see when guards show up and when they don't, so we can sneak in unassailed.
That is.
Our Slayer friend, he mentioned perhaps asking us to help him with something. Maybe we ask him about the mines too.
Oh yeah, tit for tat. I like it.
Okay, then.
We help him, he helps us. That could be a good option too.
I will go to sleep. If you can get anything sorted for this, I will pay you. And for now, I am
We'll
going
do our
to.
best.
Yes, thank
Have
you.
yourself a good night.
And I am glad you are making friends here. This is good. This is better than the Moreland Fort, at least.
Yeah, exactly.
And she just lays her head down on the pillow. Would you mind closing the door and the way out, please?
Yeah. Sweet dreams.
Don't
Thank you.
forget to lock the door.
Good night.
Lieben Blue.
Right. You have a task. You have friends. What would you like to do?
Talk to the wind.
Secrets.
Okay.
What secrets?
Who are you talking to first?
Ballarica.
Ballarica. So on your way downstairs, you discuss with Ballarica. Explain to her that you have cleansed the water supply. And she's going to roll a... Oh, that's not the right dice.
D100 to see how much gold she's gonna give us.
Well, the water is a little clearer at the moment, but I'm sure you killed 3 trolls.
Gives you a very sarcastic pat on the side.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Well done. That's
Yeah.
very good.
But I'll make sure to tell the other... Right now, she doesn't believe you. Actually, no, she failed miserably. So, yeah, of course she believes you. Either way, she hasn't a clue.
The water was looking a bit clearer today. If that was you, then I'm in your gratitude. I don't exactly drink a lot of it, but it does make the ale taste a little bit nicer.
And what does a woman like you drink?
Ooh.
Only the strongest of
Ooh.
ales. Ooh, ooh.
There you go.
Ooh, dwarven ooh. I haven't heard that one before.
Ooh, woo.
She's currently got a pint by the side of her by the bar. It's pretty tonk-looking tankard.
Hey, well, you've done us all a service. I'll make sure that word gets around town that you've been doing us all a wee favour. You might be getting a little more popular, who knows?
It doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about perhaps a necromancer? He had the Mambo Juju.
Mambo Juju.
In the mines?
Only the old stories that they told. A long time ago, when they were exploring the mines, the catacombs, and delving, there was stories of undead that joined in the great struggle before the keep was lost. I could not tell you any more than that. He appeared there one day. We don't know if we stumbled across something or... Well, I do not know. There are rumors there are still dead down there, though, that walk about.
She pulls a little, a spooky face at you.
Ooh, so scary. I'm so scared of ghosts.
And have you heard about rats walking on two legs, acting like us people.
I've heard the stories of them, yes.
What do you know about them?
I've never been down there myself, but I know that we did, well, as rumour has it anyway, we disturbed one of their runarounds, I guess you would call it. It's a bit like our underpass that Astowie use, but far less constructed, far less stable, but yes, it seems that our paths crossed some time ago down in the tunnels.
Did you know that they walk on their back legs and not on their front?
Yes, I had assumed that. Gives you a weird look.
Oleg is suitably disappointed that his knowledge wasn't appreciated.
Well, I have patrons to see to, so if you do not mind, I will
Speak in the right accent for a moment.
I'll speak in the right accent for you, and go and spread the word of your good deeds. Have a nice day, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bleib in blue.
Right. The day is yours, or rather the evening. It's pretty much it's bedtime soon. Shops are just closing up. Across from where you came out is the Runesmith, which is actually the opposite building to the Miner's Bounty. Just starting to close up shop, you can sense. The board that was outside previously has now been taken in, although the door is slightly still ajar. But choice is yours as to what you wish to do.
I think we should go look for anybody in the alley waiting to get mugged outside the Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
See if there's any easy marks, and then go to bed.
Okay.
You're not exhausted?
Probably.
I'm pretty
but
exhausted.
Okay, so are you splitting, or are you all going to go over as a party?
Now we're going with the party.
Okay.
Party hard.
Oh, and what was that, OLED, sorry?
I was just going to mention how technically the endurance is fine. So
Yep, you're not shattered yet. It's been a long day, but... right, so you're just having a snoop around the Crystal Palace, are you?
why not?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Doors currently are open, 2 bouncers on the outside. A little bit of music playing on the inside, and spying inside, whoever is having a peep, you can notice every now and again the occasional, let's say, female entertainer walking back and forth, sometimes carrying drinks, but generally quite scantily clad, quite a lot of flesh on show.
Human or dwarf?
Human. Generally humans that entertain this place and frequent it. And down by the back alley, currently no one there. It would take a few moments to just walk down each side, but you get the impression that this place has probably only been open an hour or so. It's very much a building of the night.
Well, the night is young and nobody's drunk yet, I assume.
Rogel is pretty exhausted from the day, so he's just going to offer to sneak and just case the place if they want to go in.
I mean, weren't we supposed to look what's going on outside of it? And wait for people to mug somebody? Or act suspicious?
You can if you want.
Or we can act drunk and act as decoy for the mugs.
That would be an interesting attempt.
Are you going to case the joint? Go inside? Go to bed? Go to the mine? So, you guys are currently outside the Crystal Palace. What are you going to do?
I vote for sleep.
Okay.
I vote for sleep.
Okay.
Decent night's sleep for all of you? Anyone doing anything different?
I would like a drink before I go to bed.
Okay. Are you having a drink inside the Crystal Palace before you go?
No. back home.
Okay.
At the donut
You'd be
stand.
provided with some ale back at Clan Drona's. Something of a... If you asked for something weaker, they would probably turn their nose up at you a little bit, but offer you something that's got some fluids mixed in with it to water it down a tad. But you're able to be hydrated before you sleep, as well as fed and anything of the sorts. A fairly short bed, though. This is a bed built for dwarfs. The feet hang off of the edge, but you get yourself a fairly decent night's sleep still. A quiet building, and well constructed, insulated, warm enough, and decent bedding. And the morning comes round. You're all risen sharply at 6 o'clock and taken to a breakfast table with Sanarak, who greets you and asks you regarding your plans for the next few days. Are you going to be saving anything else? Going back in the mines, perhaps?
We were
Perhaps.
thinking. Speaking of, do you happen to know why the mine that our employer is here for is closed?
No. His face turns into a little bit more of a angry sort of squint. Don't ask us why, but that Wazzock's had the mine closed for the past few months. It's cut our money down. Our coin has suffered tremendously. He won't open it.
Well, would you like to come with us to take a small sneaky little peek? I mean, it's probably not gonna hurt anybody, yeah? What do you think about that?
I would be tempted, but the law is the law around here. A clan that
but-
dishonours himself is not a clan anymore.
What if somebody not a member of your clan goes to look for you, like us?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you would know a way in?
Only through the front entrance, I'm afraid. It's boarded up, and there is a rather large... there's a few boulders in the way. It's somewhat of a secluded entrance, but someone could probably sneak inside. He gives you a little wink at that point. Goes back to eating.
Do you know when the guards switch switches?
No.
Generally, it's not guarded on the outside. Not very much, at least. By the afternoon and evening, it'll be more or less quiet around the mines. They work a standard 8-hour shift.
Oh.
So, yeah, wait till the end of today, and you'll be able to get a clearer look, let's say.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for the information.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anything else I can do to help, you let me know.
Yes, thank you.
He starts scoffing down into some food and porridge at this point.
Nom nom nom.
Okay. That's it with them.
So we could go look at the mine. We could go talk to is the Slayer around, do you think, in his camp?
You could have a peep.
Go take a peek see. Here we
Yeah,
go.
why not?
Yeah,
Was there
maybe.
anything else that we were supposed to do? Shauna picking up her clothes and how many
Yeah,
days?
that will be
Guild.
in a couple of days.
Okay.
The jewelsmiths. They were going to
Right.
check on their guildmasters. What
Yep.
we accused him of.
It's only 2
The
buildings
manager.
down the road.
Yeah, let's go talk to them first, and then we'll go up to see the Slayer.
Okay. You guys go for a stroll, not too far away. Only a couple of buildings, in fact, and knock on the door. It's still opening up for business at this point, bright and early, but by this point a shorter and perhaps slightly younger individuals opens up. Hey, hello.
Where is Zerador?
Oh, hey. Right, let me get him.
Thank you.
Brings you inside. I'm a little late opening up today. You're brought inside, and there is Zerador in front of you.
Hey Zerador, how's it going?
He
You
greets
guys
you,
find out anything?
gives you a big smile. You were after not the leader, I assume, the guy that hired you, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. just to double check. Okay. Yep. He looks side to side, a little shifty, and whispers you over. As you approach, gives you... who's going to approach?
Seems like
was.
Rogel wanted to, yeah.
Okay. As you approach, he looks side to side, back at you, and hands you a small pouch in a very subtle manner across the couch.
Thank you. Now,
No, thank you.
just one favour. Make sure word don't get out.
Taps his nose.
Okay.
We've got our integrity to maintain.
I'll tap my nose back and turn around and go to leave.
Okay. Inside the pouch, as you exit, it's quite light. Not coin, you would assume, a little lighter than that. But it, having a little peep inside, it does seem to be a small collection of fairly ornate rings that have presented. They would be of fine quality, predominantly silver of manufacture, but elegant nevertheless.
How many rings are in the bag?
There are 4 in total.
Ooh,
Super friend rings.
I know, right?
There's a couple of jewels inside them as well. They're let's say good looking at first glance.
Ooh. Now these are just mundane rings, right? They're not.
You don't get
Something
anything
new.
magical from them.
I got it. So I'm thinking what we can do is we can go over to the rune priests and see if we can turn them into super friend rings.
Mm-hmm.
By our powers combined.
Okay.
Straight to the rune priest then. That plan. Is that where you guys are off to?
You guys want to do some super friend rings?
Yeah.
Can't do weapon training without the 2 gold. But...
You'll need an endeavour for the weapon training as well. So you basically need downtime here.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So what do you guys want to do first? Go talk to the Slayer, or go to the rune priest?
Rune Priest, Slayer, and go check out the mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Enough.
Runesmith welcomes you in. He acknowledges you in particular, Rogel.
Hey, not brought anything corrupt back here, have you?
Well, I still got it on me, but it's safe now, and I brought customers for you, possibly, maybe.
Okay, just keep it in the box, will you? Now, where can I get you?
What do you got? Well, actually, I want to ask about this first. I show him the 4 rings. Do you think you can do? I don't know what those runes are, but they seem to have magic in them. I don't know exactly what they are, but I was wondering what are you able to do with something like these?
Takes them, eyes them up a little bit.
Hey, I could probably...
Puts them under the microscope.
Where did you get this?
It's a secret.
Well, we wouldn't really like to give out his name.
Hey. I tell you what.
He turns back to his books and looks through and starts scrolling through a few pages and pages and pages. About 20 seconds goes by.
Look, I've heard that it was you that fixed the water and returned Dronas the weapons. As a favour to Dronas, and that alone, I'll treat you to something. Leave them with me. I'll need a day.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Yeah, definitely.
Fair enough.
Just one thing. Typically, we do not offer these services, so if anybody were to ask, you found them.
Just like
Yes,
we
sir.
found the rings.
I don't want
we
everybody
found them.
and their bloody family coming in here asking for runes. All right?
Thank you very, very, very much. Seriously, we'll keep quiet about it.
But you tell Dronas that I did this for you. Alright?
We will.
Make sure
Absolutely.
they know it was me. But nobody else. Just Dronas.
Okay.
Okay.
Like when we're walking towards outside, I just want to say, man, I sure do hope those are penis enlargement runes.
You're funny. Actually, we were not going to be leaving yet because I wanted to show you the armor and stuff that he has on the wall. That looks really, really fancy. See if you like it.
May.
As he spies you eyeing up the armour, sort of pointing to it on the side.
Aye, it's the best Grommel around. The best runes around. Fortunately for us is our metal's strong enough to hold such runes. Can't be said for steel, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. So,
Basically instructs you that that only Grommel weapons and armor can be, let's say, runically enchanted. The rings you actually gave him, you would assume, therefore, perhaps were even Grommel. But these armors and weapons aren't really for sale to folk like you. This is not really the done thing. It's unheard of, let's say, for a human to get a hold of something so priceless.
okay, yeah, I can understand that.
This is more stuff for the Thane and the very high ups around here.
Sorry, Grim.
Probably
No
not.
cool
Got
armor for
excited
you.
for no reason.
Well,
Sorry.
We probably need to do more, I guess, things for the dwarves if you were to have access to that.
Yeah, we could go spelunking again, see if we find some more stuff. Wait,
Yeah.
we were already planning on going down into the caves tonight, so that'll be fine.
Yeah.
Alright.
Well, you guys were looking at the mines, which are over on the left here. So separate
Yeah.
to the downstairs ruins.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm just gonna be saying that we're going into the ruins. you
Okay.
know,
Sure.
as a
Sure.
Wink, wink moment. Yes.
Oh, and Shauna, at any point, like it's up to you if you need to dip, but I'd say my plan would be 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So you guys are free to do whatever you like now. You've got the plan to basically stake out the mines later in the evening. Is there anything you'd like to do during the day before that?
Find the slayer.
Just go see the Slayer. Yeah.
Okay. Yep, he's, as you exit from the rooms, he's basically asleep by the fire right now. Still caked in blood. It looks like he's not even bothered to wash it off yet. He's currently snoozing, sort of rested up against a barrel, presumably, which is now half empty.
Should probably leave him.
Yeah, the guy probably needs some sleep.
I don't want to wake up a sleeping Slayer.
Yeah, that's
That
fine.
actually might be kind of funny.
Then you can
Only
wake
if you're
him.
the funny guy.
Well, he seems pretty funny. He's got sarcasm.
Go wake him up. What are you waiting for?
Yeah, I will go.
Schmat fella.
Okay.
Maybe I should use my magic to murmur in his ear. Wake up.
Okay. So he rustles. He rises after you wake him. Hello. He looks like he's half hungover. One eye is half open, the other one's half shut.
Hello.
Sorry for waking you up.
What can I do for
Behind
you?
my hand, I whisper to the other guys, "Hey guys, he might actually talk when he's over."
What do you want? Trying to sleep.
Yes.
I push Rugal forward for him to talk.
Me?
Well-
No.
Yeah.
Oled wanted to come see him.
Okay.
I was just wondering. You said that you wanted to work together with us, and we would be indisposed this evening. But we were wondering what you had in mind.
Aye. We go down there after a couple days of R&R. We'll be going back, though. That's what we do.
Gives the ogre by the side a bit of a nudge. He's kind of sat up at this point and is half listening, but just snacking on what looks like the leftovers of a cow's leg by his side. We'll be going down. Not today, though. That dwarf needs his rest still.
Sorry to disturb. Have a good day.
I'll, quickly backs off.
He just goes back to laying down against the barrel and starts to give it a little bit of a hug as he falls back asleep.
Sounds like he made money on the way back.
Be great if he had a straw sticking out of the barrel going into his mouth while he was sleeping.
They had enough money for the ogre to buy a cow.
Or at least a cow's leg, yeah. That's some pretty good going. Right. So you guys have got a bit of time during the day. Is there anything you specifically want to do, or do you just want to sort of chill
We need
out?
to buy supplies if we're
Yeah.
going back underground.
Yeah. Make sure we stock back up again. Torches. See if you can get that lantern repaired or buy a new one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to getting the lantern repaired if possible.
Okay.
I want to get arrows.
Okay.
I wanna check on my fine clothes.
We'll do all the shopping. We'll say you've done that during the day because you won't be going down in the next 10 minutes. But we'll do that sort of after the session as such. So you guys spend a bit of the day, at least the first portion, getting yourself stocked back up. The water does seem like a few people are starting to drink it now and trust it. So very, very tentatively though, but it's starting to be sold at least, although you're not entirely sure how safe that is. But you do stock back up on the rope that you are now missing. So you get another reel of rope, hooks again to go with, a couple of torches and a storm lantern all replaced. We'll talk through the cost afterwards. So that's all done. And that'll bring you up to about, say, lunchtime-ish. So you've got a few hours till the evening. Is there anything in particular you want to do, or are you just going to...
Well, we don't have anything in particular to do, I think, as far as I recall. Even if I glance over the journal, I think most of everything that we can do is done, or...
Well, I mean, we could search for that leather coat.
Yeah, but we don't have an idea where to begin with that.
Right. But that means we just have to begin everywhere. Like gossip checks and...
Oh yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
So...
You can run a gossip test if you want. See what's cooking in the town at the moment.
Shauna, go find this out for us.
Yeah,
Shauna, remember how you're a female? Please do your magic, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
+4.
Okay. So, firstly, you pick up the fact that the town is starting to talk about you guys a little bit. You've got a little bit of a name for yourselves. There was... Later last night, another individual mugged outside the Crystal Palace. There was also someone could have sworn... This is all from Ballarica, by the way, I'm assuming you're getting your gossip from. There also seemed that there was another group of what looked like soldiers heading into the closed mine. At least Ballarica's pretty sure she heard from a reliable drunk last night. And... any stolen goods you're looking for are basically more or less going to be sold by Harlock Ballockson at the Golden Mug. That's pretty much a safe bet. Anything that's stolen in this town generally winds up there.
So we should look there for the jacket.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
There were soldiers that went into the closed mine,
Yes.
Yeah. They always go into the closed mine.
but at
I
night.
think.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe
we should go
see
in
them
like-
come out?
My apologies. They came out of the shaft at night.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
That's different.
My apologies. Yep.
I was
Slight,
like, wait, are we about to walk into like into a huge fight here?
Yeah, they came out at night.
Okay, fair enough.
They mostly come out at night. Mostly.
Right. But we're talking late in the night, like 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, something like that. Out of sociable hours. So, are you inquiring at the Golden Mug?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're certainly able to do so. Back to the usual gambling hall. By lunchtime, it started to pick up now, and you can see that actually there's your name up on the wall, and the there seems to have been a few bets placed against you, and it looked like the majority had bet that you would die. So there seems to be some people a little bit disgruntled to see you in here. You're just known as the Four right now. They don't really have a particular name, but you would get the impression when a few people look your way and don't seem particularly happy. But Harlock welcomes you in again and asks what you would like. Yep.
Before we start that part, didn't we bet on ourselves entering last time?
I don't think any money was placed that I recall.
No.
There was mention that you might, but
Aha, okay, fair enough.
We asked if we could, and it kind of turned into a devolved mess of no.
yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, like our names weren't important enough to be able to place bets.
Well, now we're important, so...
Yeah, so now we can place bets, but before we couldn't.
Excuse me, our group name is going to be the Boat Loving Four.
No, absolutely not.
I was thinking Bogenhafen Bonanza.
No,
I'm not from
absolutely
Bogenhafen.
not.
Holy fuck, we need to think of a name.
What is wrong with the boats?
Grimwald's Grimballs.
Only you like the boats.
No.
He doesn't love boats.
Entschuldigung, Harlock, yeah?
Okay.
The Fantastic
Harlock has
Four.
approached you at this point and has asked what he can help you with in his usual shady way.
Looking for a jacket.
Yeah, about the jacket.
He squints and sort of says it's oddly specific, but he takes you to the back room. He trusts you from before and allows you to sift through a few wares. Sure enough, there is a jacket in there that fits the description.
How much?
2 gold.
Hold up, mein Duden. It is a simple coat, yeah? Is there anything special about this coat?
You can roll and evaluate if you like, and Shauna can try and roll a haggle.
I'm gonna reroll.
Hold on. I think I clicked way too many. Okay, evaluate.
Wow.
Yes!
Okay.
Yes! First roll! First
As
roll!
far as you can tell, it's a pretty straightforward jacket. It's a slightly different colour. It's got a couple of engravings in it, but it's not particularly amazing. You pretty much get the impression he's just trying to pull your pants down for the price. Shauna, he doesn't seem to want to budge.
Yeah.
Entschuldigung, Master Harlock. This is a simple coat. There's nothing special about it. Why are you trying to rip me off? We are trying to only...
We gave you good business here. Everybody who bet against us didn't win any money.
And if you were one of those, I can see why you're charging us 2 gold for it.
Yeah, he's probably trying to recoup his loss.
He doesn't seem as friendly as before. He makes an arrangement with you that if you do go down again and survive, he'll give you the jacket.
Fair enough.
All right.
But we do plan on going back down again and surviving.
Yeah, and surviving.
We ever intend on not surviving.
Does it help or hurt our odds if we're going back down with the Slayer next?
Do you tell him that?
No, tell him that. No,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Okay.
It would definitely, well, from a meta point of yes, it would help your odds. You have a Slayer and an Ogre with you.
No,
But
but
we're
if we
more
don't
likely
tell
to
him,
fight dangerous
Oh, who
shit
knows?
when you have a Slayer with you.
Who knows
Yeah.
if they would hold that against you? But you know, he offers to shake your hand that if you make it out alive, he'll give you the jacket.
Yeah, and I vow to bet 2 gold in our name. Slap it on the table.
Okay. You can do so. And if you make it out alive, that would end up being worth 4 gold.
Fair enough. I slapped the 2 gold. Then
shit,
tell
I
him
might
to
slap all 4 of mine.
Yeah.
I mean, what am I using it for? We have food and lodging and shit. That kind of stuff.
By the time that money is being put down like this, he does remind you that you have to come back with a bounty. You can't go down there and sleep in the stairway for a day. There has to be significant proof that you've been down there, heads of things, or you've
Fair
basically got to lynch some stuff or recover some goods while you're down there.
Oh, yeah.
Do all of us need to come back, or can like if one person comes back, do they get all of the beds?
Bruder, let's not think about that.
Yeah, he kind of laughs at hearing that and seems fairly insistent that it's generally either you all come back or you don't.
Well,
Okay.
there's a guaranteed one that'll come back, I promise you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Rogal in shadow form.
Okay. So,
I slapped down 2 gold.
2 gold placed. Gotcha.
Let me slap it so like on the table.
There you go. 2 gold placed.
2 gold placed.
A few
right
dwarfs
for my-
turn around to look at you, particularly grumpy at your confidence. Nah. Go back to
Nah.
grumbling and drinking their beer. All right. I'd say it's sort of mid-afternoon by now, so you've got a couple of hours. You could eat, grab some food while you're preparing before your stalkage. Anything else that you'd like to do before creeping out and doing a stake out of the closed mine?
Stake out.
Okay. So, last couple of hours pass. Go and get any bits done you'd like in town, grab some food, get a drink. A few more people being pleasant towards you.
Oh, can I look into getting my shield fixed? How long it would take?
You certainly could, and it would take a day to fix.
All right, never mind.
But they'll offer to fix it for you, but at your convenience. Doesn't cost too much. But yes, it would take some time to do. Actually, with saying as a it would take a little bit of time to fix.
Mm-hmm.
So the evening comes around, the group meets together again, and you wait outside the closed mine for primarily the rest of the open mine shaft to empty over here. A few dwarf miners pour out, 5 at a time to begin with, another 5, another 5. Before long, perhaps some 50 have passed you. Each of them being fairly jolly and joyous. The majority go into the mining guild. A few others head down to the various taverns spread throughout the town, leaving the area around you somewhat more noticeably quiet compared to what it was. In front of the closed mine here are a few boards, wooden boards, not completely blocking it off. You could crouch underneath them, but they are blocking the entrance as such. There are no guards at the outside right now.
Let's go.
Okay. Are you guys...
We got nothing else. We have nothing else to do, right? We already stocked. We said we stocked up and did our shopping. So let's go ahead and let's do this.
Okay. Now you guys are healed, and I just need to update one person's hit points. I will.
Are we gonna go into the mine right now?
Yeah, I'll just show you the map as a teaser.
Okay.
Is it done with dynamic lighting?
If you give me 3 minutes, it'll be better than just a little bit of a teaser.
Well, then I will run to the bathroom
Okay.
to do that.
Yeah.
If you can cope with
Yeah.
3 minutes.
I
Yeah.
can cope with 3 minutes, but oh god, it has another.
Ooh. Also, there's
Oh yes.
Yep. But you are currently inside. There is dynamic lighting. There is not a storm lantern anymore, so what I'll say is...
we bought the storm lantern.
Oh, yes, yeah.
We
You repaired it, didn't you?
so-
Yeah, you did. I was just thinking to myself that maybe it was still there being repaired, but we'll say that Oleg has intentionally dimmed it down a little bit.
Is there like a defined range of how much the storm lantern shines?
It's got an adjustable latch on it, so you can kind of adjust it from a narrow beam to a wide cone. So it can sort of do a mixture of ranges, but torches are kind of poorly defined in Warhammer Fantasy. It's like 30 yards or something, but I'm working with the assumption that Oleg's dimmed it down. I'm also adjusting the lights slightly to try and keep it a little bit more atmospheric.
Oh yeah, please.
Because if you have it at 40 yards, then basically
No, having the lantern dimmed down is a good call because we don't know who's down here, and we don't want our presence to be known. So
Sure.
it makes sense. It's logical, and it adds definition to the atmospherics. I like
So,
it.
you crept inside the mine. Do we have everyone?
I'm here.
I'm here.
Okay. And the four of you are able to snoop around as you wish. Ahead of you looks a fairly straightforward mineshaft track that would presumably carry a cart in and out. I imagine the map is loaded by this point, so
Yeah.
you are free to do as you please. Doesn't seem to be anything odd about the mineshaft as you enter. Nothing unusual. No sounds, no smells.
I
Okay.
move to the side, making sure my hammer and shield are prepared.
Okay. You move forward, and it seems fairly straightforward as you travel. Nothing too unusual as of yet. Before you start to reach the end of this fairly short shaft, actually, giggity,
Giggity, giggity, goo.
where there are a few different entrances, caves that have been tunneled out, some larger, some smaller, heading off in different directions. You continue to search. Crates of
Forward.
presumably ore are by your left at this point over here. It has a little bit of a shine to it. You think it might be an unrefined silver ore, perhaps. Presumably that's what they were previously mining.
Can I pocket one?
You can put some of
Okay.
the ore in your pocket, certainly. It's kind of like still half vein, half rock, so... But you could certainly do so.
Bruder, are you going to play rock pants?
With myself, yeah.
At this point, you notice a little bit of a smell to the air. It's the smell of rot.
Does it
Sniff,
smell
sniff,
similar to what smelled at the water source?
No. Less diseased. Perhaps more the smell of, let's say, decay.
Where's the smell coming from?
So like dead bodies. It smells like dead bodies.
Smells like dead people.
Okay.
So you get the impression it's coming from sides of the room. Perhaps it's sort of after wandering around for a minute, you get a fairly good indicator.
From this?
You get the impression, yes.
I slowly, like, with the edge of my hammer, just, like, try to open it without touching
Okay.
without touching anything with my hands.
Crowbar, kind of.
You can lift it up. It's not currently nailed shut. And lifting it up, you get a bit of a waft of the smell. You're certain you're in the right place. Looking down inside, you can see a face looking back at you. Clearly, from first glances, it is not someone that's alive anymore.
Does that cause, like, a fear check or anything because seeing a face in the box?
Yeah, make a cool check to see if you yelp out, or at least reel back. Okay. You move back and sort of shudder a little bit, but you don't make any noise.
I just tell them, guys, there's a face in here.
Is it just a face? Or is it a head?
I tried to.
Taking the lid off completely, you can see there are perhaps 3 bodies in here. People, human people. There's still some clothing on them, a couple of items, but you can see that there's big hacking marks. One of them has like a large chunk of their neck that looks like it's been struck into by an axe. Another has a fairly large hole in a chest.
How deep is it into the neck? Like,
It's like halfway through. It looks like they've been hacked. Let's
Perhaps
say
criminals?
yeah, can we sort of try and see anything clothing, how they look like?
clothing wise, they do look fairly well equipped. there's not any weapons left on them currently, but you can see on their person, as you sort of move the bodies to one side, you find some climbing hooks, some rope, a couple of torches. Let's say equipment that is eerily familiar to you.
Yep, I was just thinking that. That sounds eerily familiar. Okay, so
You think maybe smugglers, and this is how they get rid of the bodies?
But didn't we pick up like any rumors about people disappearing?
I don't think so.
It was people getting robbed, I think.
Yeah.
You know that this was a previous thing you had discovered, that less and less people have been returning from the mines. From the catacombs down below.
Yeah, the ruins, right?
Yeah.
And this is the mine that's been sealed off.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is all we can see.
This is all you can see for now. There's the bodies inside. There's these caves, presumably extensions of the mine either side and around you. And
I try to wrap like a rag or anything and try to rustle through. Like, is there anything that I can get from their bodies, like an emblem, insignia, anything, notes, stuff like that written?
Make me a investigation, perception.
Ooh, investigation.
Investigation, I think. I'll give you a plus 20 because you're looking for something small intentionally. You know what you're looking for, and you've got a little bit of time.
Advanced skill.
Do perception then if you need.
Does it even exist?
Perception
Any bonuses?
20.
Reroll.
Okay.
This is not. Nice.
Nice. You find a small coin purse for one of them of a neighbouring town. Not so much a neighbouring town, neighbouring city, but familiar to you, given the high roll. Most likely Helmgart. Also familiar to Shauna. Yeah. Familiar to Shauna, given its her place of origin, but you, in fact, given that roll, find two of them both have these insignia on their coin purses and pouches. There's sadly not any coin left inside.
Yeah, I was about to ask for that. Brother.
Are there any secret compartments?
Yeah.
To the coin pouches,
Yeah.
I'd say, given your roll, you've found everything there is to find with a plus 6 SL.
Yeah, okay.
Wasn't there anything like? Wasn't there like that guy we found in the sewer, which was also from Helmgart, with the gem, with the green gem?
Could have been.
Because it was kind of some time ago. Can you please give us like a sort of a roll that we can roll to remind us or anything?
Yeah, you can make a roll.
Or something.
Intelligence?
Yeah, sure.
Probably nothing gonna happen, but I hurt my head.
No. Not exactly sure.
You thunk too hard.
Thunk too hard.
Thunk so hard.
As you are rummaging through,
Darryl.
from the entrance, making no effort to be quiet, you hear the clanging of metal.
Oh, that was initiative.
That's initiative. I try to hide like behind anything I can find that's big enough to hide me, and making it so stealthily.
I'm just gonna channel Ugu at the sound of that.
With a very...
Woo.
You have but moments to react, as you have heard a clang coming from the entrance. And this is your
Falling
attempt
over.
to hide.
Okay.
I'm gonna reuse my last reroll.
What do we use for?
I guess I can use my last one as well. Sure. Actually, you know what? No, I'm good. I'll leave mine.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Wait.
did Chana do anything with her intelligence test? Or
I rolled an intelligence. It was +2, so also I'll re-roll the stealth.
Okay,
And failed again.
Yeah, that's fine.
there's a pass.
Oh, you passed. Cool.
Okay, 0. -2. +3. -2. Okay. And from
Oof.
the direction you're coming from, you hear a shout. Who goes there? And that's where we're going to end the session.
Okay.